We're going to hit close to 50 degrees, if not 50 degrees, on Sunday. How about that? Claudia Tenney has made a concession. You said the full concession is up on the website.
Yes, and then she has one that's further detailed than the one that she sent on her Facebook, her Claudia
Correct.
Tenney for Congress Facebook.
Even the first line is, well, we're on the right side of history. But not really. No, you weren't. I mean, I don't mean to be picky, but you weren't. If you were on the right side of history, you would have won.
Right.
The other, the more detailed. This is the thing that bothers me. I understand there's a lot of people out there that supported Claudia Tenney and do support her, or thinking, oh, they don't get along, so this is not the reason why. But did you see the one on her Facebook page?
I skimmed through it.
Did you see the ending line? The ending line is why do you even have to go there? I got to do it so I can read it. She goes through, as the votes have been counted the last several weeks, it's become clear that while we remain on the right side of the issues and history, we came out on the wrong side of a very, very close race. Rob says, your hate for her is blaring. My hate for her is obvious. I've never denied it. My dislike, I don't want to say hate. Hate is a bad word. My mother always said, if you say you hate somebody, it means you put the middle finger up to God. I'll never forget that.
Is that really what she said?
Yeah.
I totally respect that, Mrs. Keeler.
I think the other line she had was, then you could watch them burn.
Wow.
And I could not do that. So hatred, Rob, is a very strong word. Mm-hmm. But there's no doubt she would never come on this show. I mean, that in itself is, and it was done in order to punish me for pushing on questions that we were on the right side of history with. Believe me, our questions were on the right side of history. Anyway, my point is, this is your opportunity to just say something nice. I mean, you lost. It was a close race. Just say something nice. I'd like to thank all of the people out there and proud of what we accomplished, all of that stuff she does. But then she's got to go further. I wish Congressman-elect Anthony Brindisi the best, and my office will work with him to ensure a smooth transition and good constituent services for the people of the 22nd District. We should acknowledge when Congressman-elect Brindisi does the right thing for the district, but hold him accountable for every vote he takes to advance a liberal agenda that doesn't help our community. It's that line. Do you really need that line? Come on. You don't need that line. This is your concession speech. It's the part where you're supposed to put politics aside and just be a decent human being. And she cannot help herself. She couldn't help herself on election night. She can't help herself. And it's that line that just doesn't need to be there. So that didn't come with the full release to the media?
So yeah, no, that one that I sent you was the full release, but this one is the.
You mean there's more?
Yes.
Oh no.
No.
Yes. The one.
No,
so the one that I sent was the one that was I forwarded.
Well, I got this off her Facebook page. So
yeah, what's on her Facebook page is the full. Right?
Yes.
But you said
there was
another
a state.
one.
So there's a statement she sent
statement
to the media.
Was the first two paragraphs, right? Basically.
Yeah.
Of the
No,
statement.
Oh,
it was.
but
It
there's
was
a
not.
long
It was
one
like
here.
she
Wow.
broke it up, and
Yeah.
it was like the first intro. It was like the intro and the outro of the main Facebook statement.
This is long. So
Yeah.
Is there something in there that stands out?
Well, one thing that stood out to me was
Okay.
the part
All I'm saying is just take the high road here. You don't have to take that next step and continue to campaign.
I think it was more in the Facebook one, kind of maybe a little bit of, and again, I'm just surmising here about maybe what her future plans are. So there's in one part she goes, in 2020, no amount of money or sympathetic press corps will help liberals who masqueraded as moderate Republicans cover up their record. As long as we stay informed, they'll have a record to defend, and the phony rhetoric and empty promises will be exposed for what they are. And then the other
that's
part,
Claudia. That's her.
Oh, there was one part about local. She was comparing local leaders. It was very long.
The corrupt line?
Yes, here we go. We cannot surrender to the same corrupt political class that has destroyed New York's economy and will continue to do worse both in Albany and Washington if left unchecked.
All right. Well, I think this would be her opportunity to just be non-political and human. Right? It's over. And what are you going to do? Is she going to kind of follow in the footsteps of Jim Zecca and be a community advocate?
No.
No? You don't think so?
No.
Anyway, it's just my take. Take it for what you want. I'm just saying I think she had an opportunity twice to just wish him well and thank everyone and not take that next step. But she just finds herself unable to do that. So it is what it is, right? There's another interesting study out there that I want to get to that is about women. And this, by the way, her speech has nothing to do with gender, with her being a woman. But a study has come out, I'm going to get into the details for you, that says, this is a study out of Buffalo University, that states that women sleep better with blank than they do men. And what do you think fills in the blank there?
Pillows.
Wrong.
Dogs.
Correct. Did you see the story?
I had it yesterday.
You're an idiot. I can't
read
believe
it yesterday.
Oh, I didn't know. Anyway, I pay no attention.
You're an idiot. You answered my question.
I pay zero attention to
you
Andrew.
Idiot.
I'm sorry.
I know. You got a lot to do in the break.
It's exactly the case. They would rather sleep with dogs.
Mm-hmm.
They sleep. It's not even rather sleep with dogs. Because in some cases, I think the man they're sleeping with is a dog.
Yes.
Whether they know it or not.
It has to be a
But they
dog.
actually sleep better with dogs.
Scientifically, yes.
In terms of sleep study.
What about men and dogs?
They don't care about men. Studies never care about men. You have to get you got to get your facts straight on that.
Right.
They just don't
Depends
care.
on the gender of the dog.
Ivanka Trump says lock her up does not apply to her email. And to talk about that is Tanya J. Powers from Fox News. Good morning, Tanya. Do you sleep with a dog, by the way?
I do not sleep with a dog.
Okay, just checking.
However, I used to have a dog, and that survey may be true. So I'm just saying, non-scientifically, I see their point.
Listen, my wife is not a fan of dogs, but she probably would prefer to sleep with a dog, to be honest.
They're just cuddly.
It is what it is. So, okay. All right. So Ivanka Trump says her situation is different than Hillary's.
Yes, she does. She was on Good Morning America and talked to Robin Roberts about this. I'm sorry, Deborah Roberts, Ron Roberts. And she says that there is no equivalency when the question came up about her emails versus, the situation with Hillary Clinton's emails. She said, this is not the same. Ivanka said that all of her emails relate to any government work, mainly scheduling, logistics, that kind of thing. She says this was all part of the, home work-life balance sort of thing. She also says they're stored on the White House system, so everything's been preserved. And she says there's just not an equivalency between her emails and Hillary's emails.
It is it's an optics thing, though, right? It does seem to be. I mean, I would assume she would have wished it didn't. It is a story that never surfaced.
Well, yeah, because immediately the comparisons came up about, the lock her up thing, which, the president got quite a bit of mileage out of on the campaign trail and still does, even, 2 years into his presidency. She says there's no intent to circumvent anything. She says all of the emails are on the White House server. She says the emails have not been deleted. She says there wasn't anything of substance on them either, and nothing confidential. Again, it's the original post story that came out about this that we all saw online. Came from the Washington Post, and basically it was how she had used a personal email to do White House business. And that is the key sticking point. This wasn't just, using a personal email at the White House to, get the babysitter schedule. There was different stuff.
I did see her answer yesterday because it played over and over again. And I must say it was a better answer than Hillary's. I'll never forget Hillary's answer when somebody asked her about cleaning I think she was under oath when was asked about cleaning the computer or wiping the computer clean, and her answer was something about
with a cloth,
with Windex. Is that, so the answer probably was better, but the optics of this whole thing just isn't necessarily all that good.
No, it's really it's not good. There's people are going to take whichever side they want to take.
Sure,
because it's it's partisan politics.
It's where we are right now. Boy, it's really crazy. So, all right, Tanya, interesting stuff. We appreciate it. Tanya J. Powers from Fox News. Have a great day. Here's one more for you. Last night, the Christmas in the Rockefeller Center aired on NBC. They lit the tree. You know that the star on top of that tree weighs like 900 pounds or something?
No way.
Yeah, it's extremely heavy. How does that stay up there?
That was my
biggest thing. How does that star stay up on that tree? They must have to really suspend it from the
ground, maybe, or the anchor. They anchor it somehow.
You'd have to anchor it. I was waiting for them to get into it, but all they wanted to do is sing.
Watch up people sing songs.
It's unbelievable. The singing last night. Anyway, Mayor Bill de Blasio was there last night.
He sang
and was introduced. And guess what happened when he was introduced?
Boo.
They booed him.
Ooh,
That's exactly right. Here's
man.
some audio of the mayor in New York City getting booed.
Let us officially open the holiday season in a very special way.
Here to light the tree, we have the mayor of New York City, the Honorable Bill de Blasio, and co-CEOs of Tishman Speyer, Jerry Speyer, and Rob.
They were booing the daylights out of him.
Yeah, and then they announced the next name quick, and cheers!
Yeah,
like, oh my goodness.
Why were they booing? That's their guy.
He is having some issues in New York. And I think transportation is one of them. That's where the governor is in trouble, too.
Yeah, I thought the governor was in trouble for the subway. Now it's de Blasio. I'm just saying
I'm not saying it's definitely the subway. I'm just saying they booed him. So
yeah, no, they definitely did.
Yeah. 6:29. We'll get into a Thursday morning, and there's lots to do here this morning. The forecast looking pretty good. Syracuse looking really good. You called it an upset, Andrew. I don't give it an upset at this early in the season. It's too early for any team to be even placed in the top 25. Nobody really knows who's going to do what.
That's true. I guess
I guess they did knock off number 16, number 18,
16.
Number 16 Ohio State. And let me tell you something. They were shooting incredibly well last night.
So I didn't see the whole game.
And defense was strong. They looked really good last night.
I didn't see the whole game, but I saw somebody had posted on Facebook a clip. Now, Boeheim had got into it with the refs, and there was this like obnoxious Ohio State fan that was almost leaning over the visiting bench and like screaming at Boeheim as he's screaming at the refs. I'm surprised that Boeheim didn't just turn around and punch the kid.
Anyway, great game. We'll talk about it coming up 6:30. Also, Sylvester Stallone has made a long overdue proclamation, and I'll explain what that is coming up. Listen, I'm good friends, close friends with Joe Griffo. I totally disagree on this change in the law. This kid is already being charged with a terroristic threat. I need somebody to explain to me why we need another law. Why do we always need another law? Not only is he charged with a terroristic threat, they're throwing the book at this kid. How many years?
10? He might face 10, even maybe possibly
20
more years.
10 to 20 years in prison this kid could spend.
Well,
so do we really need another? I mean, they're talking about a huge fine to go along with this. Allow the judge. There's already a terroristic. I don't know. You can't run into a movie theater and yell fire. You can't make a terroristic threat. There are already laws on the books. I don't understand why we need another law.
This is completely me filling in the blanks here because I don't know either. But if it's a D-level felony, this kid didn't actually. He made threats and he caused a big scare, but he faces 20 years. A D-level felony makes me think it'd be like an 8-year crime or it's not going to be big penalty-type crime.
According to this, it's making a threat of violence specifically. So maybe that's the difference between terroristic threat and threat of violence.
I think what they're actually doing is creating a law that carries a less stiff penalty when you actually don't hurt somebody. Because
you're saying that that's what Griffo's doing?
Yeah.
No, you got to read the whole. You got to read the bill. Let me get into it here for you. Who's this guy again?
Alex.
Is it Alex that said it? I don't think it was Alex. Maybe it was. I'll find it when we come back. Let's talk about this when we come back because it's worth getting into. No, it was. This is it. It is saying that it would require making a threat of mass violence in the first degree would be considered a Class D felony, would apply to anyone 18 years of age or older. The punishment for this crime would be a $35,000 fine and a sentence of no less than 3 years in prison. But it certainly gives them the opportunity to go like throwing the book at this kid like they are here. I mean, this kid is already facing up to 20 years in jail.
What is the
why do we have to? And it even goes further. There's also a penalty for someone under the age of 18, and it would carry with it a fine of $35,000. So for the 15-year-old moron that goes to school and writes some sort of a threat on a bathroom wall and scares the crap out of the school, who's going to pay that $35,000?
Mom and Dad.
That's exactly right. I just wonder, and I know you've got Mashel in this story and McNamara in this story, all saying positive things about this. But I just wonder, and convince us all that this needs to be passed, that we don't already have laws on the books that are handling this. Because I got to tell you, based on what this kid is potentially facing by going to trial, I'd say it's a pretty stiff penalty.
Yeah.
Spending 20 years, up to 20 years in jail is a pretty stiff penalty. I'm not sure how much further we need to go, but we'll talk about it. I'm just saying. I always kind of fall on the side of we've had 200 and how many years to pass all the laws that we currently have. Modifying is not a bad idea, but do we have to keep adding on these specific laws every time a specific story breaks? I struggle with it, and Joe knows I struggle with it. Every time he comes up with one of these, I challenge him on it. So let's get him on, and he can explain to me why I'm wrong, and I'm sure he will. I think it's their first annual Arts and Craft Show, and it's the New Hartford Holiday Art and Craft Show, which is being held this Saturday. Is Saturday the 1st of December?
1st.
I think it is. 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. at the Perry Junior High School cafeteria. Most vendors are teachers, parents, and faculty members, so this will be kind of cool. Home decor gifts, ornaments, jewelry, ceramics, homemade knits, and crocheted items, wooden treasures, Tupperware, 31 products, books, paparazzi, and so much more. I wonder what that is.
Paparazzi. I think it's a Lady Gaga
You think
song.
that was supposed to say potpourri?
Potpourri, yes. Maybe that might have been it.
Well, the paparazzi will be there. And much more. Entrance is $2 and includes a raffle ticket for one of their great items. All proceeds go to the PTA at Perry Junior High. So that's going on this weekend. Let's see. On the issue of Senator Griffo's, on the Star, weighing like 900 pounds, 700 or 900 pounds on the Rockefeller tree, the Christmas tree. Michael says that star staying up on that tree with that much weight is actually a Christmas miracle. And he may very well be right. He also says, unfortunately, for many politicians, they place their value on how many laws they've gotten through in spite of previous laws that are already on the books. The new law, it's not going to stop a kid like this from doing what this kid did. Right? I mean, if you're a kid or an adult and you make a terroristic threat of some sort, you do know that's illegal, right?
Yeah. Well,
that kid knows that's illegal. The guy, the female, I guess these are normally guys that do this sort of thing. But, chances are they do know the difference between right and wrong. So is another law going to stop them? If you disagree with me on this, I'd love somebody to explain why I'm absolutely wrong. 315-736-0186. But it's also talking about, for an underage kid, a mandatory sentence of 10 days in a juvenile detention facility. I'm pretty sure we're in a better position if you allow the court or a judge or family court to end up making that decision, to have a mandatory part of the law stating that if this happens, it's 10 days. It's automatic. I think that takes the ability away from the court to be able to look at a situation on an individual basis.
Well, and the $35,000,
that's a big mistake.
The $35,000 fine for a minor is essentially you're fining the adult, you're fining the parent, because there's no way that
I guess
unless
you
they've got
are,
some
right?
small business that they've started, like our man there that does the flags.
Yeah, like if it's a 15-year-old kid, what?
They don't have $35,000.
Where's that $35,000 coming from?
There goes your college.
Yeah, that's right.
No college
Welcome
for you.
to HCCC or MVCC.
Yeah.
That dream you had going off to a big school is gone. You idiot. That's what I'd say to the kid, even if it was my own.
Yeah. Especially if it was your own.
There are some parents out there that the kid would want to be in a detention center. Believe me.
Please.
You'd be better off in a detention center. Maybe that's what it's all about. You disagree? You seem as if you're just in a disagree. I just kind of wonder. I just wonder why. Why do we need this?
I said when we went to break, I said, I read this story and I knew what your take was going to be on it because this, me reading the story and knowing how you would, just because I've known you for so long, it's the thing that drives you nuts.
Drives me nuts.
On more laws.
More laws on top of more laws. Sylvester Stallone has made a declaration. Guess what it is? He has finally come forward.
Hang on. I know I have the answer here. This was from our
you do?
man, Ed Welsh. He is now about to fight bladder control. That's his next battle is bladder control.
Yes.
It might be. All the great stars, it's exactly what they're doing, right?
But those Depends they have now, they're just like underwear now.
Who's the one that it's Joe Namath now. Is all over the TV.
Yeah. Wasn't Rex Ryan doing Depends commercials?
I guess. All right, here's your answer, though. He is finally going to retire Rocky Balboa.
Wow.
It's over with. He's done with Rocky Balboa. Here he is. He actually needed a video to post a video to declare this, and here he is.
This is probably my last rodeo because what I thought happened and has happened, I never expected. I thought Rocky was over in 2006, and I was very happy with that. And then all of a sudden, this young man presented himself, and the whole story changed. It went on to a new generation, new problems, new adventures.
All right. Anyway, he's saying he's going to be done.
Sounded like he was going to say, "I'm running for president."
You never know with all these people. Everybody wants to run for president now.
If anybody holds a press conference, just be ready.
So does that mean? I understand. Rocky is done fighting. We've understood that for a few years, I think. But the Creed series is done?
Yeah, after 2, I think.
I think that's what he's trying to say.
Okay.
Or at least he won't be in the movie.
And there's a movie out right now, right? That's,
it just came out a couple weeks ago, I think.
This is apparently it, he says. A new study looked at the top words that make people laugh, and here they are, all in one clip. Are you ready?
Yes.
These are the words, according to a study that probably cost way too much, even if it was $50 in a case of beer. These are the words that make us laugh, according to this study. Here we go.
Upchuck.
Upchuck.
Jiggly.
Jiggly.
Yap.
Yap.
I'm hysterical. I don't know about you guys.
Well, Jiggly made me laugh a little.
Yeah.
Jiggly made me a little giggly.
Oakland University outside Detroit has an interesting plan for an active shooter situation. They believe they have solved the problem. They're handing out hockey pucks to students and teachers so the students and teachers can throw them at an active shooter. Brilliant.
I would laugh, too, if it wasn't so ridiculous. And I'll tell you right now, anybody who stands in front of a guy with a gun who's shooting inside of a school and you're armed with hockey pucks, you're going to die. You're better off running in the other direction.
I'm sure it hurts to get hit by a hockey puck from a professional athlete that's hitting it off a stick, but throwing it?
Do you know what's going to happen? You've seen it in all the movies. The man's standing there with a gun. Somebody hits him in the face with a rock. He kind of shakes after he's been hit with the rock, or maybe it's 20 rocks in the classroom. He's kind of,
I guess if
gets
20
shaken a
pucks.
bit back, and he's like, now I'm shooting all of you. And then he mows them down.
Yeah. I think maybe if there was 20 hockey pucks and you did like 10 at once and then 10 at the other and then rushed them, you might have a chance.
This is so stupid.
This is all dreamed up inside a university. That's what's scary. Here they are talking about it, followed by the lone guy out there that thinks this is not such a good idea. Here we go.
I was a hockey coach for my kids when they were growing up, and I remember getting hit in the head with a hockey puck once, and it hurt.
800 of them have been distributed to our faculty members, and there's an additional 1,700 that I'm working with Student Congress to distribute to our students.
It's part of the bigger picture, which is the plan and the strategy and the confidence that you get when you have your own individual plan.
I find it at first absurd. What good will it do? I mean, if there's an armed person coming in, why would you chuck a puck at them?
It's Chuck-a-Puck.
Finally, there's someone with some sensibility. Okay, I remember doing. Gary Heenan used to do this thing where, and he knew it. I knew he knew it. I knew exactly what he was doing. He was completely setting me up. It was a fundraiser, and he said, and for Chuck a Puck, this time, Bill, you get down on the ice, and the people have to hit you. If they hit you, then whoever's number is on that puck, they win. I was hit with like 5 real pucks.
Yeah, they gave me
Really?
some real
Absolutely. They were whipping real pucks. I mean, there were a lot of the ones that are rubbery, but I was hit with at least 4 or 5 pucks. So I'm still here. But if that person somewhere there in the seat had some sort of a semi-automatic rifle or something, then chances are I wouldn't be here. I think this is the dumbest idea ever.
Well, but Bill, it's the plan.
I was
going to
say,
I think
the
idea is where they give they're selling these backpacks that actually are bulletproof. That's a better idea. That you just lay down, you play dead, and you cover yourself with your backpack. That's a better idea than this. You're not going to be able to stop unless you're somebody like I don't know, some great pitcher on the what's the name of the school on the Oakland University baseball team.
Yeah, I would say probably buying bulletproof backpacks for 1,700 kids isn't in the budget, especially now that they graduate next year.
But 1,700 pucks? Come
1,700
on.
more.
We got that extra money laying around.
I will say there is some credence in the at least we have a plan.
I guess they have a plan. You may very well be right. There's a plan there. There's a plan. Okay, that's a good start. They have a plan.
This is a start. I hope this is not their final plan.
Let's hope it isn't. We've had plenty of other suggestions after this stuff, right? They were talking about having throwing books, and I guess you do whatever you can in that situation. But if you, chances are you're not going to be sitting there with your puck sitting on your desk waiting for the shooter to come in. By the time you find the puck in your bag, where did I put that damn puck?
No, all the desks have puck holsters.
Okay, I guess you're gonna need it out. It's got to be out. Just the dumbest story. I'm sorry, it's just stupid.
I think it's equivalent to having the cheesecake plan, where you load up every classroom with cheesecake, and if a gunman comes in, you say, "Sir, would you like a piece of cheesecake?" And you try to distract him that way.
That is, I like that idea better, to be honest with you. Yesterday, you had said, how long is it going to be for the president because there are some conservative Twitter people, in most cases, they've been far right, conspiracy theorists, people who are throwing out really crazy theories, one would say, that have been banned from Twitter. The question is that an impediment on their free speech? So you said yesterday, how long before the president says, you know what, I'm going to stop using Twitter? By the way, he could never do that. I thought your suggestion, while very interesting, could never happen. Because where is he going to go?
Yeah.
There's no other place for him to go, and I think he just loves Twitter and that ability to communicate with those people that follow him closely, that care for him, and those people that hate him. I think there are probably just as many people out there that hate him that feeds him tremendously. However, the thought you had, the strategy you had, is currently being used by Fox, the network.
Oh, really?
Their entire network. If you look at any of your feed, go check your Twitter today and look for Fox News, Fox Business, Fox Corporate. They have not tweeted in several days. As a matter of fact, it goes back to November 8th.
Wow.
They are in a full-out boycott of Twitter right now. And it's caused because some Twitter user posted Tucker Carlson's home address. You remember when that happened?
Yes.
Since then, they have a corporate mandate that they have completely blacklisted Twitter. So it's something you might not have noticed, but go check your feed. Fox has not tweeted out since November the 8th. Kind of interesting. Interesting strategy. This hour, we have New York Sash Teddy Bear Toss tickets to give away. The New York Sash Teddy Bear Toss is this Saturday night at the Adirondack Bank Center, and I have a pair of tickets for this game that is sold out, and it's been sold out since September, I believe. Earlier every year it sells out. So this hour will give you a chance to win some tickets to Saturday night's game. And last night for the Christmas tree lighting in Rockefeller Center, Can we all agree that maybe Tony Bennett it might be time to do a little less?
He's bordering on like Dick Clark end of career territory.
Well, I just find he
How
was
old's Tony Bennett?
92.
Yeah,
He's 92. And listen, that means nothing. He could be 150 as long as he can perform. The problem is I felt he was kind of struggling keeping up. He was singing with this jazz singer, Diana Krall. They have an album out, I believe. And she's trying to sing along, and he's ahead or behind her, it seemed. It just was a little bit rough.
I don't think he sounded bad, but he's a little bit slower, so this other person probably should have tried to keep up.
Well, he was trying to.
Tempo
he actually came in. He actually came in a little quicker.
Yeah, one of them there.
All through the whole song, and then she'd be like, "All right, he's going to come in quick." So she'd come in quick, and then he'd come in after. It just didn't. They couldn't sync up. I don't know.
I give him credit. 92 to sing like that, like he does. Most people can't sing like that at 22,
You're probably
32,
right.
or 42.
You're probably right.
And I'm wrong. Tony was right. I should have known better. Tony Bennett knows the lyrics, and I don't. I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan on me.
You can plan on.
I thought it was count. You can count on
It might be
me.
later in the song.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
And I promise I won't
All
sing
right,
again.
listen, the Army is preparing to send driverless vehicles into combat. Is this good? Is this bad? We're really already doing it with the drones that are the pilotless planes that are flying. We'll talk about it coming up. Bronze Star recipient, Vietnam veteran, retired attorney, author of several books, and has received several honors, including 2 Bronze Stars and an Army Commendation Medal. And he's on the line right now to talk about driverless vehicles being sent into combat by the Army. Good morning, Howard Hibbert. Thanks so much for coming on.
Happy to do so, D. And I can tell you right now that any time that they can put something else in the battlefield besides my posterior, I'm going to appreciate it as a soldier.
Well, and that is, I'm glad you take that stance, because think about it. While they're blowing up that driverless vehicle, there's no human life taken.
Well, what's really important to understand is the most expensive component of any battlefield is the individual soldier, training them, maintain their food, their health, clothing, ammunition, and when these people get blown up, the cost is exponentially high because it doesn't end at the battlefield. If they come back and they've got mental problems or they got physical problems, it's just the costs just go on and on.
Yeah,
so anytime you can use a machine as opposed to a human being, I'm all for it.
Now, Howard, this is a driverless vehicle, but would there still be some soldiers in some of these vehicles? I mean, because other than that, why wouldn't they just use some kind of drone to attack that exact location? Wouldn't there still be some risk of loss of human life?
Well, the answer, of course, is going to be yes and no, because they've got different kinds of drones.
Sure.
And actually different kind of autonomous vehicles. But the Army had one show at Fort Benning, where I went to Officer Candidate School so long ago, and they had an autonomous vehicle that was actually flown in by an autonomous helicopter and went on a live fire exposition of just what autonomous vehicles can do.
Yeah.
But one vehicle is the kind that you actually sit in a chair and you're actually driving the vehicle remotely. Another one is that the vehicle is actually completely autonomous. Like right now, they have drones that actually will land on an aircraft carrier, which is considered one of the highest functions for a pilot that you can achieve.
Wow.
And you got drones landing on.
And I would say too that when you're dealing with these look at what's going on in Iraq and Afghanistan with the soldiers coming home. They're driving and they drive over a bomb planted in the ground.
Yeah.
Maybe having a driverless vehicle lead the way, leave the convoy.
Right.
Would because if that blows up, then there's no human life lost.
Well, guys, I got to tell you something. First of all, the people that we're up against are really experienced at this. So they're going to have to vary where the control vehicle is at all times. You can't always have the control vehicle up front because then they'll just blow that up.
Right.
They're not going to worry about it.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing is that however they manage it, that clearly that is a force multiplier, because for every person not driving, that's another person on the trigger.
Yep. And by the way, this is not something that is really this concept is not brand new. This goes back well into the 50s and 60s, right, where the Army's been trying to come up with these robotic vehicles that will enter into the combat zone.
Well, I can tell you, as far as I'm concerned, the faster they can get the Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator version out there instead of me, I'm going to go for it.
Fair enough. Well, listen.
Go get him, Arnold.
Howard L. Hibbard, thank you so much for the service that you've given to this country, and thanks for coming on this morning.
Well, thank you so much for calling me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks. There's no doubt that'll save lives. We see it in police forces use it when there's a bomb situation, right? They send that little robot in to try to
at least disarm it or remove it,
or to set it off.
That's true, too.
Protect
Controlled
lives,
detonation.
So, yeah.
Doesn't it kind of make you wonder, though, where we'll be in 50 years? I mean, drone technology is not unique to the U.S.
Well, and on top of it, this is what we were talking yesterday with this Chinese scientist that is altering DNA. How long before some rogue government out there believes that they have such a disadvantage and their only way to survive is to create a new force, a new military force that is superhuman? How long before this? And by the way, the Chinese government has stepped in and shut down that program. I'm sure they were probably behind it anyway.
They've taken it out of the public eye.
We have shut it down and moved it over here where you can't see it.
We're storing him where we're storing our nuclear warheads.
This weekend, we mentioned the Teddy Bear Toss. New York Sands Teddy Bear Toss is on Saturday. We'll give you a chance to win a pair of tickets coming up before 8 o'clock. Also, on Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m., the Adirondack Bank Center, it's opening day for Utica City FC. Arena soccer. I call it hocker. Did I just call it hocker?
You invented a new sport.
I like it. Well, that's kind of what it is. I mean, arena soccer is fast, and it kind of goes like the game of hockey a little bit.
A lot of line changes.
It's on turf. All right, we'll get to who are we talking to, by the way? The head coach.
Ryan Hall.
Ryan Hall's coming up in a few minutes. Hold tight. Coming right back at 7:18 at WIBX. Arena soccer opens on Sunday. I got to get through that. Anyway, it's Sunday. Tickets still available if you go to their website, and it should be awesome. Their exhibition that they played a few weeks back had a huge crowd, and it's a fast game. Ryan Hall is the head coach of Utica City FC. No stranger to the area. Played Division I NCAA soccer at Syracuse. Professionally played with the Syracuse Salty Dogs and Rochester Rhinos, and now is the coach of Utica City FC. Standing by on the line right now, Ryan. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How we doing?
Good. So we're very excited about Sunday. I'm assuming that's an understatement for you guys, the way you guys feel right now.
Yeah, truly an understatement. I mean, I think the guys are getting sort of sick of kicking each other, and they're ready to go out and hit somebody else.
Yeah. All right. Talk about the team and talk about the competition in this league.
Yeah, I mean, the team is coming together great. You know, we're spending the next couple of days, starting with really yesterday, kind of toning down the physical aspect and fine-tuning some of the more specifics in terms of, you know, our shifting, our power plays, our power kills, some of our free kicks, et cetera. You know, really just kind of getting the guys mentally and physically prepared for the upcoming games this weekend. And the league itself, you know, it's a small league, but by no means does that mean it's not quality. Like the Eastern Division, who we play opening up with is Baltimore Blast, are the 4-time defending champions. So, you know, make no mistake, there's tough competition in every game, and, you know, we're trying to prepare the guys accordingly.
Coach, you got to be patient with someone like me. I'm a big sports fan. I don't quite grasp this. I'm the one who asked last week. It looks like a basketball court, your area in front of the goal. It looks like the basketball key. All right, something you just said, the power play. How physical is indoor soccer? And so there's a situation where you have a man advantage or a man disadvantage?
Correct. Similar to hockey, there's penalties for, you know, dirty tackles, being hit into the boards. So according, you know, depending on the level of the foul, we are given three type of cards. A blue card, which is typically a 2-minute penalty. And so the opposing team gets a power play or a power kill where somebody has to serve time in the box. We have a yellow card, which is a 5-minute penalty, which is for dissent, talking back to the refs, illegal changes, etc. And therefore, the player has to serve a 5-minute penalty, but they don't have to play a man down. You can still substitute somebody in for his position. And then, of course, your typical red card, which is, you know, throwing punches, you know, some kind of dirty tackle where they're eliminated from the competition.
So in full-on soccer, like FIFA-level soccer, they don't have power plays, right? That's one difference here in the game?
Correct. That is the main difference. They do have yellow cards in outdoor, which is typically just a warning.
Yeah.
And then the red card, they're ejected. Here, it's more of like hockey, where you have a 2-minute penalty, and the team who's serving that penalty is playing with a player down.
And does the so you can use the same scoreboard?
It becomes part of the strategy.
There's a power play,
that too, yeah.
And the clock stops, right?
The clock runs.
Oh, the clock continues to run.
Yes, the clock is continuing to run, and then they'll have a side clock similar to hockey, where they'll keep track of the player's penalty time.
Okay.
And then when that time expires, that player rushes back onto the field.
And one big difference, though, is at the end of the game, when the time expires, There's no time added back in.
There is no time added back in. The clock is the clock.
One more thing, Coach. I don't want to use the term free-for-all, but I'll use that term free-for-all. When you're on offense, do you have set plays, or is it kind of a free-for-all, someone get open, someone get near the net, or are there set fixed plays that you have?
It's a little bit of both. So there's a set system in the sense of movement off the ball to try to create passing lanes, try to create open opportunities. But within that system, the players have free reign to showcase and use their skill set within that system. I mean, no one, because the game is free-flowing and constantly evolving and moving, it's not like a basketball game or a football game where you have breaks and you can set up a specific play. So depending on the defense, we have a set runs that the guys will make off the ball to try to create opportunities, sort of quote-unquote picks if you want to try to free up players. But within the guys become individuals and creative and use that system to their advantage.
Now, when you get off the phone with us here in a minute or so, will you say something like, wow, these guys are morons. They don't know anything. I mean, I had to explain the stinking sport to these guys. I mean, next time you have me do an interview, try to find me somebody who knows what they're talking about.
I mean, it's amazing. Like, being in Syracuse for the last 6-7 years with the Silver Knights, this is what we do. I mean, indoor soccer is kind of it's been around for 25, 30 years, but at the same token, a lot of people are unfamiliar with it. So, us getting out in the public and just really trying to educate people on what it is and just get them in the doors. And like you guys saw when you guys came to the exhibition, once you get in, the game itself is very exciting. It's very fast-paced, high-scoring, a lot of action, but it's just getting people there. So, no, this is a daily habit for me. People at work, I'm trying to explain to them every day as well.
And I have to say that as a community, we learn pretty quickly. I will tell you, prior to Aaron Hamlin, bronze medalist, Olympian, we didn't know a lot about luge, and we quickly learned, and everybody was glued to their TV sets watching her in the Olympics. So I think we're quick learners. We'll catch on pretty quickly.
Yeah, and you're going to have a huge fan base, too, pretty quickly. One of the questions I have is about, you being a new franchise, what kind of – I know season expectations are always high going into any new season, but, how important is that as a new franchise, and how are you taking that into facing, not only the defending champs in the opening game, but going forward this season?
Yeah, it's a work in progress. We have a lot of returning players from the Syracuse franchise who have slid over to the Utica franchise. However, we have added a bunch of key components. So preseason and especially this first weekend is really, this will be our first true test in terms of the game outside of our exhibition. So now we'll be able to see where we are, where we're gauging, and there's no better contest than the Baltimore Blast. So we're going to go up against defending champions.
Yeah.
We feel comfortable, but at the same token, we can then evaluate our process after Sunday's game, break down the film, and really then diagnose where we got to fix, what we have to key in on, and focus on next week's training.
I saw a report yesterday. I have a two-part question here. First of all, you guys are still practicing out in Baldwinsville, and will that ultimately change? And then the other part of the question is, you had a really big fan base in Syracuse. And I know there's a shuttle bus coming from the Syracuse area to here on Sunday. I'm wondering if you'd heard from any of the fans or any of the people from out there, and if you expect a pretty decent following to follow you guys this season and make the trip to Utica.
Yeah, so to answer your first question, the majority of the guys live in the area of Syracuse, primarily on the west side. And so the transition will eventually take place where we will all, slide over to Utica, train in Utica, live in Utica. But just as the transition from Syracuse to Utica this year, it just made more sense logistically for us to stay here, train here. And then on that token of the fans, we've had a great following for a lot of years, a lot of buzz around here. A lot of them drove out for the exhibition and were blown away by the Odd Center and the production that the franchise has put on. And not only that, we've signed a couple players that are from Rochester and played with Rochester Lancers when they had an indoor team, and we've actually gotten a lot of buzz from Rochester fans who are looking to make that drive and that commute as well.
Wow. And I'm assuming that when they come to the Adirondack Bank Center, they're pretty impressed, especially if they've ever been there before. The transformation of the building and everything that goes along with it, it's pretty impressive.
It's amazing. I mean, I've been there now half a dozen times, and every time I come in there, I'm blown away. Because I remember going there when I was in college and to a couple of concerts.
Yeah.
And seeing the transformation is amazing. It's absolutely breathtaking. When you go in there, you see the production that the organizations put on, the restaurants, the beer garden that was down there alongside the boards. It's absolutely beautiful.
Pretty cool. Well, listen, welcome to Utica. We're glad you're here. We're excited about Sunday. And Ryan Hall, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Good luck on Sunday. Don't forget to plug the craft fair in New Hartford. Oh.
Yeah.
The things I do.
The things we do.
It's survival. It is survival.
Oh, survival.
It's the New Hartford Holiday Art and Craft Show held this Saturday from 10 a.m. till 4 o'clock at the Perry Junior High School cafeteria. But most of the vendors are teachers, parents, and faculty members. Everything goes to benefit the PTA at Perry Junior High, a.k.a. Perry Prison. That's what kids call it. I don't know why.
Oh, really?
My gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in junior high, you got to be tight with kids. You got to have, you got to make sure
tight leash.
You keep a very tight leash because that's where it's all going nuts in their brain. They're crazy, right? By the time they get to 9th grade, 10th grade, I think things settle down a little bit.
Okay. If you say so.
Boy, now you sound like my wife. Okay, on the line right now is Jane. And Jane, good morning in Rome. How are you?
Good morning.
We are about to give you $500 in cash. Are you ready?
I hope it's something I know.
I really believe it is going to be. All right, here's a question for you. Have you been listening for how long this morning?
How long in my life or this morning?
Well, this morning, yeah.
I just got out of work. So
oh, you did? Okay, well, I hope...
came home and turned on the TV and I was like, and then I was number 8.
Well, I do not know how long you've been listening. I hope it's long enough where this you heard because we were talking about it earlier. Here we go. In a recent study that we just spoke about a few minutes ago here on the radio, it's a study that was done in Great Britain. The top 3 words that make people laugh are what? Ready? Go. Top 3 words.
Bloody.
Did you say what?
Bloody.
Slutty?
Bloody cow.
Bloody.
Oh, bloody.
I don't know. We just allowed.
Well, everything was bloody.
Yes.
Okay, number 1.
Oh, bloody. Bloody, right?
Bloody.
That's bloody funny.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
Bloody rotten that I didn't get it.
Yeah. Yes. That bloody blows. Yeah. I get it. Bloody. I can't believe I repeated what I thought you said.
I thought she said it too.
Good thing, I guess.
Wow. Okay.
It's definitely better than the actual words.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
Upchuck, Jiggly, and Yap do not make me laugh.
Jiggly a little bit.
But, Jane, you made me laugh this morning. So
Good.
That was really, really well done.
When my grandmother came over from England, she thought milkshake was the funniest thing.
Oh, really? What do they call it?
I don't know, but they don't call it a shake.
They don't call it a shake. Okay.
And it doesn't bring all the boys to the yard.
Shake, and she would just die.
So this was really a great question for you, Jane, the fact that your grandmother was from England.
My mother, too.
And your mother. That's really...
And I lived there 10 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I don't know it.
And you don't know it. That's bloody terrible.
I didn't know how to speak British.
Yeah. My British accent is just terrible anyway. But I am going to give you a $25 gift card to the 72 Tavern and Grill, okay?
Thank you very much.
That is at the Adirondack Bank Center. It's beautiful. It's an awesome. You can go for lunch or dinner, before a game, after a game, however you want to do it. But we're going to hook you up, okay?
Okay, and Bob's your uncle.
Bob is my uncle. Tally ho.
See you, mate.
Okay.
Bye.
You sit tight. Goodbye, Jane. You sit tight. Jane needs to be a regular caller. Make sure you get her number, okay?
Please.
When we have a question about anything other than something that's funny in England, we're going to ask her.
What is the Bob's your uncle?
That's an expression, I think. It's,
is
Bob's
it?
Bob's your uncle.
Oh, okay.
It is?
Yeah.
So. She threw it out there. Like
I do
she
have
said it
uncle,
out there like cheers.
I do have an Uncle Bob. Anyway,
Bob is my uncle. Yes,
Bob is my uncle. It is absolutely true. Here is the study. By the way, these are supposedly words that are going to make you really laugh. You're going to be really chuckling about this stuff here.
Upchuck.
Upchuck.
Jiggly.
Jiggly.
Yap.
Yap.
There you go.
Okay, so do you want the
just don't
origin
get
of
it.
Bob's your uncle?
Yeah, what is that?
It's a way of saying you're all set or you've got it made. It's a
So it is
catchphrase.
it is a catchphrase.
Dating back to 1887.
Okay, never knew it. In studio right now is Jerry from Heritage Logging. Jerry, did you know that Bob's your uncle was a phrase?
No, my uncle's Guilford.
Guilford. See, that would maybe even
Guilford's
be
your
more fun.
uncle. Actually,
Guilford's your uncle.
Guilford's your uncle.
Yeah, I like that. All right, I think what we're going to try to do here over the course of the next several days is come up with unique gift ideas that would be kind of cool for the holidays that would be using local businesses. And if you have any suggestions, you just give us a call, and we'll go out and reach out to that person. Like there's a service, too, later on this morning that we might get to, is a Christmas tree light service, right?
Yes. These guys won't get back to me, though.
They will come in and put your Christmas tree lights up for
Which
you.
is awesome. I mean,
and they're not even your lights. They bring the lights.
They bring the lights, too.
You don't have to buy lights.
Wow.
You just pay them. They come, they set up. My understanding, they come, they set up.
That's the
on
way
display,
to do it.
Then they come later and they take it down.
People drive by and they see and they, hey, you did a great job putting those lights up.
Yeah, worked the whole weekend on it.
I got to tell you, that tree's 40 feet tall. Got them up there. I won't tell you how. But, yeah, so that's it. So unique services, businesses, gifts that you can get for the holidays. And Andrew has one. He just purchased a gift for his family. And it is a unique gift.
It was, and a very necessary gift, as I'll let Jerry explain why it was necessary. But I decided, with all the other things that my parents have to worry about with home ownership, why not help them out and take a couple of trees down in their yard?
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't want to spoil the surprise, and I'll let you and Jerry explain this, but this is a perfect example of what I talk about when I talk about Jerry's got expertise. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
There was a tree in front of the house that your parents are really concerned about.
Yeah.
That's going to...
That I was concerned, too. I mean,
if it fell over, it would probably put a huge hole in the house, like you'd have to move out
right
of
where
the
my
house.
sister stays
Exactly.
and sleeps.
Jerry shows up. He goes, yep, I'll get rid of that one. But you know what your real problem is the one back here.
Yeah.
So go ahead. I'll let you pick it up
Well,
from
so
there.
basically that's what it, I had not known.
So you as a gift for your parents, you gave them... You took trees down in their yard.
I actually took something away from them for
without
Christmas.
telling them, by the way, right?
Without telling them, right?
Which I said, when you get home, your parents are going to come home and be like, "Oh my God, where'd old Okie go?
That was my favorite tree."
You didn't. What? Who took our tree? So Jerry, those trees had to go though, right?
Yeah, when I got there, Andrew had asked me to look at a spruce tree up front. He thought it was pine. Most people have a real hard time figuring out what kind of tree they have. Got there, looked at it, but I could see the other one around the house, and I could see that it was already starting to hit the house, basically. It was onto the roof. Went around, looked at it. As soon as he got there, okay, I'll take care of that tree, but this has to be done. And I don't know if you noticed last night, NISAG, a lot of the companies staging ready for power outs.
Yep.
Because of trees like that, weak trees, this heavy snow, heavy frost, heavy rain, gets on them, wrecks them.
I drove up into Holland Patton yesterday morning, and the trees, I was really worried driving down 365. I was worried that a power line was going to come down. You could see they were just folded right over into the road because there was enough of that heavy, wet snow that was it was dangerous.
And one of the craziest things that you taught me yesterday, I mean, I love talking to Jerry just in general because I learned so much. He's a man of many trades. But when you talk about how big these trees are and how strong you expect them to be, but when they die, you were talking to me that you could tell that the wind almost was shaking it and turning it, and that in essence it was twisting the actual bark. The trunk.
There's scars, there's evidence on the outsides of the trees where you can see where it's been damaged. I pointed out where you've seen like a white crease down the side of the tree that was fresh scarring on the tree where it had been twisted, been ripped, and I could see different impacts up and top. A large crease that was rotten in one side. It was already into the soffit, into the roof.
So to explain, if you've ever seen like the big part of the tree that folds in, it almost you think, oh wow, look, the tree kind of grew in on itself. No, it was dead and folded into itself.
Well, and I was talking the last time you were in with a white birch. Literally that tree, and you remember because you cut that tree down, and it was awful because I felt I should have known about you, and I didn't at the time. It was this spring. But how many times did your stinking saw break, and I'm like, oh my God, it's because of me. Right? It was like 4 or 5 times. The chain kept coming off.
Trust
it
me,
had broke a
it's
couple
because
times
of me.
Homeowners and chainsaws just don't mix.
I know.
Times.
And how about I have one, but it's an electric one. So you can
Probably the
imagine me
best way.
climbing up on top of the tree with the cord dangling. I'll get all the way up there, and all of a sudden it comes unplugged. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah, well,
I want to make something clear here, though, and this is very important. We're not having you on. We are literally focusing on any local product or local business. This, I want it to be very clear. Andrew paid for this service.
Yes.
And then
Yes,
afterwards,
this is a Christmas gift.
As a Christmas gift.
Right.
This is not a, hey, let's bring you on and trade free stuff.
Yeah, no.
So it's very important to note that this is not one of those deals. We really, truly want to promote the people that we think could, you could have a neat little gift. You got somebody that is in need of this service. This is big, and I'm assuming it was really big
And
for your
me,
parents.
or even other local small companies, this time of year, it's hard for us too, just like
Right.
anybody else. So we're willing to help out people. We know it's hard out there. Let's get out there and, for me especially, make things safe. You don't want a tree on the house during Christmas.
Did you have any issues? Did this snowstorm cause some problems? Were you
I was
getting
expecting
calls
emergency calls last night. I didn't get anything major.
I was surprised. I don't see a lot of trees that came down.
I do have some calls. People are worried right now that I got to go over stuff today.
Yeah.
But it's this type of year that we got the wet, heavy snow. We're really not getting cold enough, so the snow will blow off the limbs. It's sticking.
Yep.
And that's when it brings it down on the house. You really want to watch that.
And I think what the meteorologist Rachel Witter was telling us yesterday is this: for some reason, because of the wetness and the temperature, that this became a very dense snow. So if it was colder and more of a fluffy snow, we might have had another 6 inches.
Yep.
But because it had settled and it was very dense, it was extremely heavy.
Yes, that's a lot of weight. But this time of year, for me especially, is one of the better times for me to take trees apart because same thing with the leaves, they add a lot of weight.
Right.
So we can work the tree a little bit better, a little bit easier.
Okay, 'cause the
We're
leaves aren't
year-round
there.
service for this.
Yep. Okay, fair enough.
Also, one of the things, too, you talked about you do such great work. You talked about being in the tree. It was impressive to see Jerry up in the tree and doing everything you mentioned safely, professionally. No mess really at all. I mean, obviously the yard was muddy because of snow. You
The
can't help
conditions
that.
make it hard this time of year, but we still do the best we can.
I mean, I was thoroughly impressed. I couldn't believe how clean the front yard was after these 2 trees came down.
How do they get in touch with you if somebody would like to offer this to somebody that they know?
Go to heritagelogging.com. You can get a hold of me through there. You can call 315-796-2941 or text me at that line.
Okay.
And so you're doing big too. We want to mention too. You're doing logging now.
Logging. This is a primary season usually for logging, but you've noticed how wet and muddy it is out there.
Yeah.
I don't go in the woods and wreck people's woods, making it muddy. It makes a mess of their woods. It wrecks the trees, wrecks the root systems. I stay.
You gotta
out
wait
until
for it to get
freezes.
cold enough. So
yep,
okay.
So we're still primarily focused on tree work right now. I got
and in
logging
some
sites
cases,
lined up.
the trees could be worth something.
Yes.
Keep that in mind. So
it is where they're firewood.
I have one more. Right. I have one more quick question. My wife has this, I don't know, decorative tree that she got in our backyard, and it is like a single trunk stick. It's probably about 6 feet tall, and then there's this like big ball on top, and it's a lilac.
Okay, weeping.
So it doesn't weep. It's kind of groomed, so it's literally a ball. And then when it
was probably grafted then.
It was probably right. So, and by the way, those lilacs, she loves lilacs. They're awesome for like
a week, maybe.
A week.
Yeah.
And then it is the messiest stinking tree. It's like, why are we even doing this? But anyway, she loves it, so I love it. So I'm thinking I got to put one of those little things over top of it, right?
It wouldn't hurt.
Because if we get a really heavy snow, that puppy's coming right over.
It could just rip it apart in general.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to always, any decorative trees.
So what do? You just get 2 or 3 planks that would be tall enough, and you...
Or 2x4s, one piece of plywood, cut the plywood in half, rip it the length, and just make an A-frame out of it.
Make an A-frame, okay.
Real simple.
Cool. All right. I might even paint it green. Wouldn't that be cool?
It'd be festive.
Screw it. That'd be too much time. Okay, Jerry. Again, a unique, who knows, a unique possible Christmas gift for somebody.
Bob's your uncle.
Or
Guilford.
All right. I remember a gift that I got my parents. We talked about this yesterday. It was like 8 loads of topsoil. Not realizing that it meant a lot of work afterwards because I didn't bring anybody in to spread it out. My father loved me for that gift. Happy Father's Day.
Have fun. I'll let you
See
know
you in a month.
Tell me when you're done.
Here's another new gift out there. Do you remember this gift? I'm sure you do. This thing just keeps playing and playing every time you walk by it, right? Very annoying. Anyway, the new version is powered by Alexa. So you give it voice commands, and it lip syncs to whatever Alexa says. You can pre-order it for $40 on Amazon. It starts shipping on Saturday, and they've already have a new commercial to give you an example of what it does.
So there's another version that just came out. It's actually Trump-inspired, and when you walk by, it goes... Oh, you got to put Metro up. Sorry.
Sorry. When you walk by it, it goes.
It goes.
And billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions.
Sure, Jim Zucker will have a handful of those to give out for the holidays.
I love it.
Did anybody see the picture of the gigantic cow that was so large it towered over all the other cows? Did anybody see that? It was on NBC News last night. It's floating throughout the web. Turns out it's fake.
Oh.
And NBC kind of alluded to it, but they still ran with it. What they did is they put it with...
There was fake news on the fake news?
Apparently, yes. That's what the president would say. So the story is that the cow stood about 6 feet 2 inches tall, which is pretty big, but not all that crazy. It's pretty average size, you would say, for this breed of cow. But they put it and took the picture in a pasture with a bunch of miniature cows. So it looks like this thing is gigantic,
like a bunch of babies, and then
turns out it's not. And let me tell you about this. There's maybe a new. This might be something for Joe Griffo. Maybe a new Netflix law. Well, a woman in Minnesota was just busted. She was swerving all over the interstate. Then she crashed into the median at 70 miles an hour. The cops had received a bunch of 911 calls about her. When they got there, they finally got to her. She admitted, yes, it's true. She had been watching Netflix for miles while driving her car. Yeah. Here's the sergeant, Jesse. So I'm thinking maybe it's now against the law to watch Netflix
while driving. Yeah.
Distracted driving, forget that.
I was watching YouTube, officer. Oh,
No.
Okay. Well, in that case,
Well,
you're
that's
free
not
to go.
Netflix. We need a separate law for that
Yes,
one.
that's
now
the
the
point.
YouTube
Here's
law.
Sergeant Jesse Grayboe of the Minnesota State Patrol. Anytime now.
One vehicle crash, a vehicle driving along received numerous driving complaints of the erratic driving behavior all over the road. Very preventable. The person was engaged in distracted driving.
After a high-speed crash, the driver admitted to troopers she had been watching Netflix for miles.
Common sense is going to tell you that's illegal. It's unsafe. It's just so frustrating because it jeopardizes the safety of everybody out here.
Yeah, of course it does. What an idiot. What an idiot to admit it.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you even tell a cop that?
You just say, I lost control, or...
Anybody see the story of the guy that was hand gliding? Is that what it was? Did you see that? And he forgot to, the instructor forgot to strap the guy in and took off?
Took off, and then they couldn't land right away because
They
they're over
couldn't land.
forest. The poor guy's hanging on to the
Dangling.
instructor's leg on one arm on the bar.
What? Oh, yeah, it
He
was
ripped
terrible.
his bicep, broke his wrist.
Yeah.
But he held right to like the last 15 feet or something, and finally
He got him down,
fell
made
off.
some sort of an emergency landing, and the guy fell off and he broke bones. But
And
holy
he
cow!
put it online because this was not in the Swiss Alps. So he put it on there, Swiss mishap.
Swiss mishap. There's another story out there about a
man.
pastor at a church in Mississippi that was ziplining from the balcony down to the pulpit.
Yeah.
And he got stuck just as he was saying a prayer, and he just had said amen, and the thing stopped, and he was stuck. The parishioners had to come in and take him out. There's a video of that online. Search for that too. Oh, the craziness of it all. I told you about that pastor that was doing the zip lining. Can you imagine being in church and your pastor is trying to make it seem like he's coming down from the heavens, and he's gone to the expense of putting a zip line from up in the balcony to come swooping on down as if, God's allowing him to float down in.
Just so we're clear on this. Everyone knew it was a zip line, or he was playing it off like he was really floating to the pulpit?
I think you would see the line.
Okay, I would think so, too.
So it's saying this Mississippi pastor did a sermon while he came down from the ceiling on a zip line. I'm assuming to maybe underline a point.
Okay.
That's going out of your way.
Or to make an entrance. And
maybe,
now,
maybe.
for your homily,
weighing in at 165 pounds.
Anyway, the video is out there. You can find it. But I do have audio from the video if you want to listen to him coming down and actually getting caught and he was stopped with his back to the parishioners. So somebody got out of the pew and walked up and turned him around, and he was able to finish his point. Here is the actual audio from that.
The simple question is this right here: are you ready? Are you ready for his return? Amen. Are you ready for his return?
Yeah, well, his return didn't happen until
It was a little delayed, yeah.
Someone walked up and turned him around. And the other thing, and I hate to be maybe I'm just in the mood for, I'm suspicious of everything, but I get the kid is autistic, and he interrupted the Pope yesterday. Did you see the video of this? It's all over the news. And it was a general audience at the Vatican yesterday, and a mute autistic 6-year-old boy interrupted the proceedings. He wanted to touch the guards on either side of the Pope and run around. And the Pope was totally down with it. He even turned it into a lesson about feeling free before God. And you can hear the audience applaud when the kid takes the stage, leaves the Pope's right-hand man hanging, and goes up to the guard. Now, we'll listen to it first. You can just hear the audio. I'm sure you've seen the video, and you'll see the video all over today. So now they're applauding as the kid is up there onto the stage. And my whole thing, though, is where's Mom in this situation? She ended up coming up. Is this one of those things where she's like, she knew what he was going to do and she let him do it to get, attention put on herself, or to be able to come up there onto the stage? Would you call it the stage?
People go nuts over the
over the
Pope. Be able to just
right.
be in the presence of him.
I kind of think she might have even used the kid a little bit so she could get up there with the Pope.
That absolutely could be. I was kind of shocked when I saw
how'd the kid get away and run up there?
Yeah.
Go run up there.
And how about the guards guarding the Pope?
You never know. They could have chopped the kid's head off. I mean, if you don't mess up, gone. It's like the old days.
Yeah.
We're protecting the Pope. But, I just... sometimes you got to wonder.
I'm with you on a couple levels. One, with the guard and how'd the kid get up there. And the other thing, just being like, even if I'm sitting in front of the Pope, I just can't imagine allowing my son to run up there and roam free. And
correct. It's kind of like at the grocery store where the mom with a kid who's a spoiled brat, and dad too, they're letting their kid do all this stuff. Oh, come on, Johnny, stop that. And, she knows she's gaining a bit of an audience and people are watching. Oh, he's so cute. She just thinks it's so funny. No, it's not funny.
It's annoying.
It's annoying, okay? My groceries are over $300. I'm not in the mood for this crap. Although I will get 7 cents off on a gallon of gas. Pretty excited about that. Complaining about everything today, but I do seem like I may be in that mood. Talking about the Senator Griffo bill, adding what is it specifically saying? It's a specific new law, a threat of mass violence that would be targeting a school, maybe, or house of worship. I'm just saying, I already feel like we have the laws already on the books, right? So
I had said earlier and thought that Andrew said this would be classified as a D-level felony, and so I thought that maybe this was a different class than making a terroristic
to alleviate it, and it isn't. It's specific. Listen, we have distracted driving. Do we really need a law against somebody drinking a milkshake or eating in a car? Do we need a law against those things? And I just don't. I guess we have the texting law, and maybe that helps because it seems like an epidemic, texting. But for the most part, it still falls under the category of distracted driving. So Jean writes here, I want to bring this in and read what she has to say. You're absolutely right. I thought the same thing when I heard about Griffo's proposed new law. There's already a law on the books, Penal Law 490.20, making a terroristic threat. Beef up an existing law if necessary, but better to have a law that is more inclusive than exclusive. Perhaps the DA would find it easier to prosecute with a more specific law in that individual case, but that is not a good excuse for a new law.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. While I understand, they're throwing a book at this kid. He could do like 20 years in jail, right?
So this is according to the Utica OD, and this report is dated, I don't see a date. Actually, this dates back to July. This is what they reported in July. He had declined a plea offer that would have meant 10 years in prison on the 2 charges against him, which are making a terroristic threat. If convicted, he faces 2 to 7 years on each charge per state sentencing guidelines. So he could face up to 14.
All right. Still, this proposed law would add a $35,000 fine for someone over 18 or for somebody under the age of 18. Under the age, it would automatically send the kid to for 10 days into a juvenile detention center. And again, I believe those things are better left to the court to determine, based on testimony, the severity of the punishment. I don't like it. I have a positive story if you want one. I have so many positive stories.
Need it.
73-year-old Vietnam veteran named Stanley Stoles passed away in Omaha this month, and nobody could find his family. So they made an announcement. Anyone who wanted to attend his funeral on Tuesday was invited. What do you think happened?
The whole community showed up.
It is true. Hundreds of people showed up. Here are a few of them and what they had to say at this Vietnam veteran's funeral.
First, it came out that no immediate family was going to be there, so I thought, I'll be there. He needs to be, he needs to be honored.
Veterans, we're all family with each other. That's just the way we roll.
This is amazing. It's beautiful. This is what people from Nebraska do.
He would definitely be touched.
I think anybody would be honored.
I just think it's amazing how many people came out today to support this man who left this world not knowing that anybody was here to support him. And there's so many people here to support him in freezing weather, just to show that there's people who care about you no matter who you are.
I do wonder sometimes why people get so emotional at these things, but I think what happens, and I'm no psychologist, so I really don't have any idea.
I think you're right.
But I think what happens, and I'm no psychologist, you agree
with
that?
No, what you're going to say,
I think what
you're
happens
right.
is they apply something to their own lives.
Yes.
Right? Something
I don't want to die alone with nobody there for me.
Maybe that's it. Or maybe they have a parent who they're separated from and they died and they have regrets.
They never
something
had
in their life or their fears or their past creates a real personal connection.
2 things. One,
which I think is positive.
I'm going to try. Right, I'm going to try not to spoil this as a positive story. I think you and I are doing a hell of a job at it.
Yeah.
This is a great story. This is great that the community came out. But to your question on the crying, the emotional, for someone that you didn't know, I do think people think, what if I died and no one came to say goodbye? I would feel really terrible. So they want to do it as a show of support that way. Because let's be honest, the reality is if the guy was a lonely veteran, he probably needed company before he died, not after he died.
You're right.
The other thing is, wouldn't it be ironic if this guy, had a big family and they lived in Florida or New York or wherever, and he said, I'm sick of this crap. I'm moving to the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, because I don't want to be around you people.
Right, right.
It was by choice.
I was going to have a quiet, boy, you really took the step of ruining that story.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
In reality, it was awesome that they all showed up. And again, I do believe that there's something in their lives that makes them find the story so very emotional.
But at the end of the day, a great story, and it is a nice, moving thing that they came out to show the support of this man, a veteran who risked his life for this country.
I hate BuzzFeed. I used to love BuzzFeed, but I think they ran out of things to do. BuzzFeed is like a list, right?
Yeah.
Everything's a list.
Yeah.
We'll, tell us your favorite color, and we'll tell you all about your sex life.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Top,
right, I'm
top
gonna read
25
that.
movies from 1983.
Yeah. Everything's a list. So, but I found this one was kind of interesting and has to be extremely embarrassing for a lot of the guys who participated like morons. And it does tell you a little bit about the difference between men and women.
Okay.
If a man were to walk up to a young female or a guy were to walk up to a female.
How you doing?
And say, hey there, I was wondering if you would like to spoon with me. The cops would be called so quickly, you probably would be arrested. Senator Griffo would pass a new law, and you'd be going to jail.
There'd be a no spooning law.
There'd be a no spooning law. Joe, I'm busting your chops. I'm sorry.
No, you can spoon. You can't ask to spoon.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, I'm sorry, Joe. You're going to get back at me, and I'm just saying. BuzzFeed had, and this is key, it was a very attractive female asking random college guys if they wanted to spoon. And how do you think they reacted? Just walked up. Now, these guys are being taped. That's the problem here. Every single one that was asked wanted to spoon with her. That just shows you the difference between guys and women. I mean, if this was on the other gender, I don't know that there'd be a woman that would say, yeah, I want to spoon with you. It just wouldn't, yeah. But guys, every single one of them said yes. Even one guy wanted to go home and do it as quickly as possible before his girlfriend got home. I mean, every single one of these guys said yes.
How pretty is she? She's very pretty?
Very pretty.
Yeah. This girl did a similar video, I think, basically asking guys if they wanted to
go all the way. I don't have the video for you.
Yeah, but it's
you always come over. I never have the video. It's radio, man. I find that if I'm describing the audio, I do a better job of considering the audience who can't see what I'm talking about. That's why I don't.
Jeff included.
I do it this way. There's no, you're sick, get away from me. What is wrong with you? Get away from me. None of that. None of that. Now, I'm going to tell you if, I don't know, pick a vision, because it's to each his or her own on what is beautiful and what is not beautiful, right? So in your own mind, picture someone who you don't believe is attractive, that you're not attracted to, and make that the voice. I'll bet it would be much different. If the guys weren't attracted to her, they might be like, no, get away, that's weird. But in this case, it's she's the American vision of beauty. And everyone is saying, yeah, I want to do it. Whatever you want.
Oh, guys.
Shows you what pigs.
Well,
if a girl's only asking to spoon, then that's an issue. That's a red flag right there. We're only going to spoon.
Well, she opened up by saying, hugging is one thing, but I like spooning. So, okay.
Just a quick comment here on Facebook, getting back to the veteran story. This is Jeff commenting. He says, hey, guys, as a vet, that story is positive, but you guys are correct. Most of us are isolated from society on a deep level. Hopefully, folks in the area can use this as motivation to find those lonely vets and be there for them.
That's big, and this is always the time of year we think about those things, right?
Yes.
When, in fact, it should be something we think about year-round. If you know of someone, and it really probably doesn't even have to be a veteran. It could be just somebody that's isolated. You think they're mean or stuck up or rude or, maybe they just are shy or isolated. So, yeah, I guess this could be something to think about. Hold on tight. Whatever is on your mind, 315-736-0186. We talked earlier about Claudia Tenney has finally conceded. Mm-hmm. I believe it was the Associated Press that just yesterday officially called the race. Prior to that, they hadn't called the race. I don't know what they were waiting on. But
Oneida County?
Well, Oneida County basically finished up. I think everything's counted now, right?
Well, I don't think they've officially released the numbers yet.
Okay, but it's
ball game over.
I'm not saying that is to imply that Oneida County is going to all of a sudden change the outcome. I'm just saying that.
But I was, and apparently there are a couple of different posts that Claudia Tenney did, and I was somewhat critical. And maybe you want to argue with me about this. I'm all right with arguing. 315-736-0186. But yesterday, Tenney released a statement. As the votes have been counted the last several weeks, it has become clear that while we remain on the right side of the issues and history, and I don't agree with that, and you were on, it was close, but you were on the other side of history because you lost. Trust me, as a Buffalo Bills fan, I felt we were on the right side of history 4 different times, and we weren't. All 4 times, we weren't.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I could say 4 times. I mean, we went 4 times in a row.
You were on a side of history.
That's the side of history, yeah. 4 times and lost. Anyway, she goes on, despite the setback, there's still a critical fight ahead for the heart and soul of the nation, and one which I will not give up. Serving Central New York in Congress has been a tremendous honor. I'm proud of what we were able to accomplish for our area, and I'm grateful to all the people who supported our campaign. If she would just stop right there, I think it would be okay. But she takes it to another step. I wish Congressman-elect Anthony Berdizzi the best, and my office will work with him to ensure a smooth transition and good constituent services for the people of the 22nd District. Again,
also good.
Good stop.
Yeah.
This would be a place to stop. But then she goes on. We should acknowledge when Congressman-elect Brindisi does the right thing for the district, but hold him accountable for every vote he takes to advance a liberal agenda that doesn't help our community. And
then there's the Facebook post.
And then the Facebook post.
There's been more since I've read the last few that are kind of. There's a few jabs at us.
To it?
What is she doing?
So what I'm saying is the one that you read from was one I sent you, forwarded you guys, was her statement from her campaign. Then on her Claudia Tenney for Congress Facebook page, there is a much more detailed statement with things like, for instance,
this is the problem. What happens is she'll like call Brindisi a thug, but then a sentence later she'll be like, but I get along with him and I think he's a decent guy. So then when someone takes issue with the fact that she's calling him a thug, she said, no, this is fake news. I said he was a decent guy. She doesn't remember the fact that you just called him a thug in the same paragraph. And that's what happens here. I think that it would be better for her and better for her legacy to just go away by saying something positive. Because every time you go throwing more bombs, every time more bombs are thrown, you erode the bridge. There's an analogy there to burning a bridge.
Yes.
That's my best attempt.
So there was two other things that stood out. One, they were kind of like the very subtle kind of little undertone thing. Despite the tremendous obstacles that we faced, I am proud of what we achieved together. I'd rather do the right thing and keep my promises than compromise our values to win an election. Then
That's
going
a little
down,
dig right there.
Little dig. Then going down a little bit further, talking about some of her accomplishments, making American businesses, our own community more competitive, beginning to dismantle Obamacare, help with the veterans and military. Then she says, we had a terrific record of achievement.
I got to tell you something. That's not something that ever was accomplished. The whole dismantling of Obamacare. I mean,
we began to, she said.
I understand, but she touts that as an accomplishment. The only way that is an accomplishment is if the House and the Senate can come to some sort of an agreement. And, oh, by the way, Republicans had complete control to pull this off. But you can blame Democrats for not abolishing Obamacare, but it's actually Republicans. They didn't need Democrats. It was the Republicans that were worried about their own midterm election, why that didn't end up happening. But she's fair when she says she was all in. She was certainly all in on everything that the president proposed.
And then, so this is kind of the sum up part, the part I missed before. We had a terrific record of achievement, but we faced tens of millions of false special interest attacks, smears, and a hostile local press corps.
Well, she never faced me. I can't be a part of that. And I can't be. She would never come on the air with us.
You were critical of her, but it's possible she's referring to, there was
She doesn't like the OD. She thought the OD was unfair.
There was also the incident where she was yelling at a reporter, it's fake news. Remember that? The reporter kept asking a question or something. I can't remember where the event was at.
Yeah, it was in the
so
southern
many
tier.
since the campaign was like a year and a half.
I got to tell you the other part. I'm sorry. I take offense with the whining about the millions and millions of dollars spent against her and the lies against her. I take offense to that because did she not see the commercials that were proposed that aired that were anti-Brindisi? As a matter of fact, there was a commercial that just aired this morning on NBC. They used Brindisi's commercial on NBC this morning, vowing to not vote for Nancy Pelosi. They used his commercial on the Today Show this morning as an example of this freshman group that has vowed not to support Pelosi as speaker, but did she really think that the people are so idiotic and will buy anything that we're going to believe that all the commercials were anti-her and there were no anti-Brindisi commercials? I think it was pretty equal. I don't know about anybody else, but every time I saw an anti-Brindisi commercial, I saw an anti-Tenney commercial,
especially towards the end.
And a lot of those commercials did come from outside PACs.
Yes,
but. Most of the commercials I saw on Brindisi were that she was a part of the Trump agenda, which is not necessarily, that isn't untrue. She supported the president all the way. So this whole thing about we were attacked, we were millions of dollars spent against us, you could say the same thing about Brindisi. I also give Brindisi credit because he's not responding to any of this. He didn't respond to election night, the stuff she said on election night. He's not responded to a couple of the other things she said on other radio shows, and he's not responded to this. He's just taken the high road, and even on the radio with us the other day said what people don't understand is that Claudia and I really get along. Even during the campaign, we really got along. So I appreciate a good high road, to be honest with you. Anybody want to talk about this? 315-736-0186. Although I oftentimes don't take the high road. I get it. It is what it is.
In an ideal world.
But I have tried really hard after this race to take the high road.
Two things quickly to underscore a point that you made when you first started talking about this. The New York Post article about the warning to her staffers to kind of keep an eye over your shoulder, watch your back.
That was awful.
The New York Post, mind you, wrote this. But in an interview with the Post, she said she has a good relationship with her opponent and doesn't blame him or his family before trashing his family.
Right.
There was a New York Post who wrote that.
And are they fake news? New York Post is considered a conservative publication.
The other thing is, while I was here,
which, by the way, much of the stuff that ended up she was able to get out, and you know that was a story that was leaked, even though that would have a negative impact. The thought was that those voters that were on the fence, that this story, this memo being leaked, was a political maneuver. That's exactly what it was. It's not like it got leaked. Oh, who leaked that? Somebody purposely leaked that to the New York Post.
Also, while I was at the New York Post website, I found out that Quentin Tarantino married a really nice-looking young lady.
Oh, very nice.
I don't understand how. Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe I understand, but she's quite out of his league.
Got to keep those papers selling because they are all struggling selling newspapers today.
They got married.
Constantine says Joe Griffo, not to pile on to this morning's discussion. All right. Joe Griffo is a fine example of a decayed politician. He's up to his ears in a swamp and happy about it. He had no challenge from either side this election. By the way, Joe's approval rating is like through the roof. They've done polling, and he's like got an 80 some odd point approval rating, which is unheard of.
Super nice guy.
And
Super
why
nice
would
guy.
he? Dances to Dems tunes under perverted concepts of tolerance and cooperation, and Republican Party is dead in Oneida County. I cannot find a better example for term limits. All Griffo knows is to regulate and make noise once in a while to assert his relevancy.
Yeah,
that's a little tough on Joe. And I've been tough on Joe this morning, too, because I typically don't agree with these bills that he proposes. And this one today, I kind of falling in line, as Andrew said. I responded exactly the way he would expect me to respond. I would be against this proposal.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised at Constantine's take there. It's quite a bit harsh, I think.
315-736-0186. I've given you a lot to think about, a lot to chew on. You want to talk about it. 315-736-0186. We'll go to the lines next. I'm telling you, I have nothing left, and I'm opening the doors. Whatever you want to talk about, 315-736-0186. We lost two guests this hour.
Yeah,
How about the guys that are doing the tree light, or they'll do lights around your house? I think that's a cool service.
Yeah. Apparently they're so busy they don't want any.
They're very busy. They don't want to come on the air.
Yes.
They don't want any more business.
Yeah, but if you want to bother them, you can at Utica Lights on Facebook.
Go to Facebook. It's Utica Lights. They'll literally come and put lights around your house and property. Make it look really nice. Griswold-like, if you'd like.
They have, packages. They have front-of-the-house package, roof and front package, custom package. It's kind of a cool thing.
I'm assuming, too, if you wanted to put... I don't like a house that puts the lights around the big trees, but to do that, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Right? Lou's standing by on the line right now, 315-736-0186 if you want to pipe in. Lou, good morning. What's going on?
Good morning. Last week, you had a couple on that were discussing, I think, records.
Yes.
Records, music and all that. But
Yes.
I never got where they're located. I got late on the program.
Okay, so as a matter of fact, I went there on Friday for a Black Friday, and what's the name of the place again? Can you bring it up for me?
It's right.
It is right between. You remember where Big Apple Music used to be? Before Big Apple Music in New Hartford.
Music and more.
Yeah,
I know where they are now. I don't know where they were.
Well, they were up across from the restaurant Bella Cucina.
Oh, right. Yes.
Right across from Bella Cucina.
It's called Music and More Records.
Yep, it's in
That's where they are now?
Yes, it's in no, Big Apple is down where they are now. But this place, this music store, record store, is directly across the street from Bella Cucina, in that plaza next to Tony's Pizza.
Oh, okay. I know where that is.
All right.
I go there quite often.
You got to check it out, Lou. And
I will.
And this is Lou Critelli, too, if I'm correct.
Yes, that's right.
How's the term limits thing going, by the way?
I haven't stopped working on it.
I didn't think you would.
Not giving up.
You're going to have a big 2019, I believe. I feel like
Well,
it.
I don't know about that, but I'm working on something that's going to be a real shock to everybody.
Okay.
And you'll be one of the first to know about it because you were good when we tried to get that thing through.
All right, Lou, we're here when you're ready, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
By the way, that record store, they were one of only, I believe there was not a record store in Albany or Syracuse that participated in that Black Friday local record store thing.
Record Day,
and they released, record companies on vinyl released like 30 from one band. They'd release 30 records to a store, and you'd have those. They were Black Friday only records that were released, and they were sold on that day. So ultimately, they'll become collector's items because there aren't a lot of them out there. It was cool. They had a lot of people in there when I was there on Friday.
That's awesome.
It was neat. Tom in New Hartford, you're on the radio.
Yeah, just to give you an idea, you can imagine how I looked at this last campaign with the negativity. When we campaigned against Sherwood Bollard in 94 and 96, my stump speeches at these debates always started off with my congratulating Representative Bollard and him not engaging us in any of the Washington scandals that went on. And then I'd sail into him on policy.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I started all of my speeches, was with something, complimentary, that opened up the door to some real debate. But man, there's just the Citizens United decision, opening the door to this unlimited funding of outside money coming in. I mean, it was bad before, but I agree. I joined the Democrats and wanting to get that, get rid of that.
And Tom, as a conservative, I do want to ask you, to be fair, for Claudia Tenney to come out and imply that she had all of this dirt thrown at her, and really allude to Brindisi didn't. That is just the pot calling the kettle black here. And she, in some of the cases, she did it on her own.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Isn't there a point where you've lost and you can just take the positive so that there is a proper transfer from one candidate to, or one congressperson to the next?
It was in my day and in my time, that would have been an unquestioned doing. I think, as I said, the entire atmosphere that has encouraged this negativity just has to stop. And it was here, it was in Georgia, it was in all over the country. It's symptomatic of everything, and we got to stop it.
I talked to a friend of mine in Cincinnati who was reciting a commercial that was an anti-Democrat commercial. He was reciting the commercial word for word, except this was the rubber stamp for Nancy Pelosi, et cetera, et cetera. The only thing that was different in this commercial was that Anthony Brindisi's name wasn't in it. Their congressperson was in it. And these were spread all over the country, and you're right. It's an epidemic right now, and we say we don't want we want it to stop, and I really kind of wonder, is this just the new normal? And I hope it isn't. Tom?
Well, it's the new normal as long as the outside interests come in and do exactly what you're talking about.
Yep, you're right.
Just plug those things in there. It's like the nature of America. You go from Utica, New York to Irwin, Tennessee, and it used to be the Irwin had all nice little hillbilly kind of restaurants and everything else, and really had its own nature.
Mm-hmm.
But you go there, and there are 56-foot high Wendy's signs and Hardee's and all these other things, and it's becoming, the new normal is that we have kind of a cake batter kind of thing where it's
copy and paste
all over the country.
Yep.
We've got to reclaim our own
individuality, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like it. All right, Tom, thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
John in Bridgewater, you're on the radio. Good morning, John. Do you have power
Hey,
yet?
Bill, thank you very much for your help yesterday, man. Yeah, we have power. We got heat.
Boy, that is, these guys in Bridgewater, he and a handful of others were out of power in the cold of the storm the other night.
The
So
worst thing about it is our lines don't run up the front of the road. They run behind. So the lines behind my house are over the creek, up through the fields, and the guys have to literally walk the line and inspect it if you can't see it from the road.
Wow.
So we had like 6 trucks come by my house at 10:30, and I go, wow, man, that Keeler, thanks for the call.
It's amazing what happens when we. It's the what's the squeaky wheel always gets the.
By 11:30, our power was on, and everybody was happy.
Good stuff.
Sounds like he's in a manufacturing plant right now.
Yeah, he's operating now.
He's blowing,
back to business.
He's blowing heat all through the house is what he's doing right now.
Oh, yeah, we had it jacked up.
All right, John.
Hey,
good stuff.
Thank you very much again.
Thank you. Cool. Thanks so
Bye-bye,
much.
yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Chuck down in Ilion. Good morning on Citizens United. Hi, Chuck.
Billy, the thing that gets me about that is that these people get all wild up about private sector money going into the political system, yet no complaints about the money laundering operation, where public sector unions, which are paid by taxpayers, the money goes to the union, and then it's by law forced, the union can collect it. The government has to pay it to them in the form of dues. And then that money, almost 90% goes back to the Democrats in
Yeah, but that's changed now, right?
Contribution.
That's changed now.
That's my point.
Right. Okay. Well,
All right.
The news is that has changed under President Trump. All right, Chuck. Thanks. How's the water down there in Ilion?
We're doing fine, Billy.
Okay.
We're moving forward. We're taking the next step towards the transmission line.
All right. Good deal.
Nice.
Thanks so much, Chuck Lester.
Thanks.
Who's on the
See you later.
village board down in Ilion, and we'll give the final word to our man Joe Lode, Joseph Leonard. Good morning, Joe.
Hi, Bill. How are you today?
Wonderful. I got a minute, Joe.
You
You're
sound
on.
like half yourself.
Listen, all I got to say is just be kind to each other today. If you see somebody who needs a hand, lend them a hand, and just be thankful you're breathing and you're alive, and just enjoy the day. That's all I got.
That would have been a great speech, though, for the day after Election Day, right?
But I could add some negative at the end, and maybe that's why somebody didn't get elected, because, she's negative.
Okay. And by the way, you voted for her at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, I did not.
Oh.
I did not, only because, to be honest with you, I'm putting a lot of cards and a lot of faith into a man who says he's going to do something, and I believe that he will.
All right. Well, we'll do our best to hold him to that. So, Joseph, thanks, man. I got to go. Back tomorrow.